If you had to describe your life in one sentence, what would you say?
I would say a string of blessings.
If I ask you how your friends describe you, who is real Ashish? What they will say?
So they always just tell me you're an open book because you get what you see, and I have always been like so. There's never a agenda. There are no tensions. I'm mostly the way I am.
If I see about Starbucks, there is every other. There are some third wave. There is some blue tokai. I don't know. There are some many other players who are coming in the premium coffee chains. Even in that space, the competition is really mounting up.
We are seeing a lot of competition here. My mind that is good because again, a lot of category development work is happening. So I think competition in the short term looks daunting. It also, makes you rethink, but in the long run, it always helps.
I'm seeing you after almost like 10, 12 years and you're still the same. Like age का कुछ difference ही नहीं लग रहा है आपको आशीष देख के.
No, I think the hairline is receding and the waistline is increasing. So when you see me in person, then you realize.
Good. So I'll tell you the format. Welcome to first of all, welcome to our show. So the name of the show for 2025 is Pursuit of Leadership. And its major audiences for us starts from say a student 18 to 20 years to up to a professional 40, 45 years. They will benefit from our interactions today. And the objective is to tap into your experience over the years and learn from there and understand from how we can also achieve. So that's the objective. And format simple hai. Like a conversation we have with friends together and on a cup of tea or coffee, whatever you prefer. So this is my
I have my tea here.
you know,
It's Organic
yeah.
India.
So cheers,
Yeah.
the virtual cheers to us. So we will do in three sections. So first would be your initial part and your career journey. Second is since you are an expert in the area of consumers and over the years you have that. So we will tap into and understand from you FMCG and in general what's your some of the takes on the important parts of the industry. And third part is a rapid fire. So this is a new thing I'm trying out. Coffee with Karan has inspired on this. So we'll do a rapid fire with Ashish today.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, sure.
Looking forward to tomorrow.
Great. Thank you, Ashish. So, Ashish, first questions take us to your childhood, your life. Where did you grow up? What all you did over the years? If you can start from there.
Yeah, certainly. I think this takes me back to Kolkata, which is where I was born. In a Marwari family, white family, very business oriented, trading community. Canada has a large Marwari community. And I grew up in a joint family. And as I grew and I grew, got a little more aware of my surroundings, I realized that the business in the families were not running very well. And I think being in a joint family, you get a lot of air cover, you get a lot of support
Yeah.
system. So I think sometimes you don't realize how tough it is for your parents to really run the house. So I think that was the environment in which we grew. Of course, the temptation was always to, push you into going into a gaddi or a dukan because all my uncles, all my relatives had
Yeah.
either a shop or a gaddi in Kolkata.
Mostly सब तो business में ही जाते हैं ना वहाँ पे.
So I think everybody was in business and that was a temptation. तो आप भी gaddi में जाके बैठ. And but I was very keen on studying. I was a good student, and my father always backed my dreams of studying. And he used to always tell me that, look, you stay away from these temptations because अगर हरा देखोगे तो सफेद भूल जाओ. So stay focused. So yeah, I think in the environment, I ended up, doing my CA, CS, and and from there on, the career journey started. Joined HUL post my MBA. Had done my summers with them. Had a PI. Wanted it. Very delighted because, of course, we were the e-leadership factory. It was a dream company. There, I think even it stays. So as a management training, again, I think we went to that almost a year long. Bharat Bhaman, we used to call stays, take us around, pitch everywhere, and it was like a huge learning experience. Did various roles in Unity work. Started off, and in those days, Didi, you remember the designations never used to be so. So my
Hmm.
first book was a CPD Profit Center Accountant. So I was almost. I started in foods. Did 4 5 years in foods. These branch Kisan and the category. Went on to then do a branch finance role. Then switch lanes, moved into commodity buying, get oil buying for the soaps business in India was. Again, that was a hugely, I would say, enriching stint because I didn't know EPC or commodity. I then went on to do an international stint in Singapore. Again, this was a startup within Unilever, and this was Unilever International, which Umesh was setting, which of course has gone on to become $1 billion. But I was part of the first few hiring to the team. Therefore, did a lot of grounding work, which was again very, very exciting because being a startup in a large ecosystem with Unilever is never easy because you have to
Yes.
work really with great belief what you're trying. I came back again, switched track, moved into strategy, joined as executive assistant, and got a chance to work with two stalwarts of the FMCG industry. Then to Rajpit start with, worked with him and reported to him for a few months. Then got a chance to work with Sanjeev for Mehta for almost 2 years. Of course, Sanjeev stayed on here for life. I would say I was really blessed to have worked with some really all leaders.
Mm.
Fought with them, worked very closely. And then I think I left Unilever after almost 14 years of learning a lot. A great career ride. I joined Airtel, I again switched industries, joined Telecom.
Mm.
His luck would have it. It could not have been a better time or a worse time because the month I joined, usually a month later, is when Jio launched with its free service.
Yeah,
So
that was the time when you joined. How did you even manage finances then?
I mean, it was an absolutely, I would say, crazy time.
Mm.
Nobody was prepared for what was coming, and it was
Mm.
almost a tsunami. Uh, because Reliance, being Reliance, they had thrown the kitchen sink
Yeah.
at it, and the industry was in complete turmoil. So when I joined the
Mm.
industry, it had 10 or 12 players, and within few months, the industry was down to just 3 players. And of course, it was one of the most intense, I would say, period of, but also the most interesting. And I think what Airtel then went on to do is history because they not really expected that that kind of a tsunami, but they went on to grow from strength to strength. So 4 years with Airtel again, the huge learning. Then I joined Jubilant Foodworks, again switched industries. This was closer to consumer, but a food service.
Mm.
They run a Domino's chain in India, which is the largest QSR chain in the country, apart from a host of other brands like Popeyes. And, uh, the challenge there was that I joined during COVID, and this was the first time I joined a company and never went to office for the first 10 months. I think it was again a very difficult period to manage even from a CFO perspective. You have to
Mm.
make sure that you have some line of sight into how the demand will pan out because there was so much variability in the revenue itself. Therefore,
Mm.
how do you then manage the cost lines in a very, very agile and then therefore we started variabilizing a lot of stuff because we didn't know what kind of revenue we'll generate, how many stores we can keep operating, will we even get delivery staff to come in and actually do the delivery? Because getting manpower, and it's a very high, manpower
Mm.
is getting manpower to just run the stores and do the delivery itself. So I think it was a very tumultuous time, but again, full of a lot of learning. How do you manage in such dynamic? And of course, I was there with Jubilant for about 3 years. And last 1 year, I actually just completed a year with Tata Consulting. I've been here for a year.
Congratulations. It's a milestone in a new company.
Milestones on the
Yes.
of December.
Mm.
Again, it's been a fabulous ride over the last year. Tata Consumer itself is at an inflection point. You're, done phenomenally well over the last 4 years. And pretty much everything that a CFO could have hoped for in the last 1 year has happened in this year. Active acquisitions, to get
Yeah.
a rights issue on that. It's a lot of restructuring. I think it's been a great, great ride, and I'm So that's been on a nutshell career, right? On the personal side, again, being a Marwadi, there was always a pressure to get married early. So I could not hold on to the pressure beyond the point that I got. So I think
So
this
what
year will
age
also.
did you got married?
I was 26 when I got married. So probably this year we complete 20 years of our marriage.
Okay, that is very interesting. अभी तो लोग 30, 35 is like too early.
So in our family, the thing is that जैसी पढ़ाई कर ली या तो गलती पे जाके बैठो and then get. That was the whole Marwadi stereotype. Because I registered the first bit, so saying I'm not going to pursue. I was a bit of an aberration in the who went on to actually pursue a professional. But on this, he could not resist temptation beyond point because there was too much pressure in the family. So I got married when I was 26. Was my wife. Yeah, she's an avid photographer and a very, very passionate. I have two lovely daughters, and they get the better of.
आशीष आपने इम्पोर्टेंट डिटेल्स कुछ छोड़ी हैं जो बताई नहीं है लाइक यू आर डबल गोल्ड मेडलिस्ट यू हैव बीन लाइक व्हाट सम इन द टॉप 5 ऑफ CS and top 2 in the college, right? You have been like you have got so many awards. Share about that also.
So as I was telling you, professional, I don't know, academics was always my strength. And I never used to put in that much hard work as I would say I was used to be lucky. I always got good credentials in terms of. So I have in terms of track record in school, I was second. I gold medal there. In college, I topped St. Xavier's. I was second in university. And professional exam also, I think I did well. In my CS final, I had the 6th rank. In my MBA, I was a double gold. Yes. So yeah, so this has been.
Wow, like any student can dream of achieving all of this. You will be like one of the rarest breed, Ashish, in getting that. So Ashish, if I ask you how your friends describe you, who is real Ashish, what they will say?
So they always used to tell me you're an open book because you get what you see, and I have always been like so. There has been never any different Ashish than what you see because there is never a hidden agenda. There are no pretensions. I'm mostly the way I am. So I'm very comfortable being myself. So I've also learned in life that whenever you try to move away from your core, try and be someone else, it creates so much dissonance that you are not at peace. So I tried that once in my career when I was trying to be someone I was not. And I realized that it just does not work. So I've always tried stage through.
And now you're a group CFO of one of the top FMCG and top foods company. Like Tata Consumer is growing like tremendously since it was created. I think back in 2020, it was formed 2020 or 2019.
We brought together a number of consumer businesses, and late 2019 is when Tata Consumer actually was born in the form and shape it is currently. We took the various businesses of various Tata companies and put it together. And since then, I think our top line has been the highest growing in the industry, almost 13% CAGR. Because bottom line has grown ahead of top line. Market cap has quadrupled. So it's been a great, phenomenal performance, I would say. And that's why I was saying that at this moment is amazing because it's at an inflection point. Because we have just acquired 2 very exciting businesses. And for the future, something that I'm really looking for.
Yeah, so it's great. Like the top line itself is 15,000 crore plus and growing tremendously. And you are heading as a group CFO. It's amazing. Ashish, आपका एकदम dream career है, and I wish it continues that way. So Ashish, what like you have shared so many things, right? You've been in terms of number of careers you did. What would be your one of the best role like which you let's leave the current one to avoid any controversy. But what would be your one of the favorite experiences throughout the year?
I mean, of course, all experiences is something that you cherish, and we are some product of our experiences. But if I have to pick out one, Vidhi, it would without doubt be the one that I did with Sanjeev. Those 2 years of strategy, because the learning was immense. The bird's eye view of how leadership operates, how very tall leaders build a company, build a strategy, and then put it to execution. I think was phenomenal. And not only the harder skills, I think I learned a lot of softer skills of
Hmm.
stakeholder management, uh, what to say, not to say in a large forum. How do you get
Hmm.
your team to rally behind your vision? Because there would always be some friction. I think there are a
Hmm.
lot of these softer aspects that I have learned by staying very close to the boardroom in that stint. Um, so I think I really cherish that. And the one that I cherish more out of that role is that I found a mentor for life. So, and of course, I have always reached out to him whenever I've been in any, career doubt, and he's always guided. So I would definitely pick that one as the most favored in-law.
So Ashish, moving on further, what would be like you would have also faced right issues or adversities in your life career. If you want to share one or two with us, that what were the adversities which you faced and how did you manage and come out of it?
So I recall one incident. Yeah, as I told you, I was from
Hmm.
a family where we were starting to make ends meet. I got to my MBA, realized that we didn't have the money to pay the fee. Uh, and
Hmm.
how do I take admission? And the deadline for the fee payment was coming near. So I started going around banks to see if I can get an education loan. And in
Hmm.
those days, and I'm talking about almost 24, 25 years back, education loan as a product was pretty, and most of the banks were very circumspect. And therefore, they were asking for
Hmm.
almost 100% collateral, 100% security, and which we had neither. No, there's no way
Hmm.
my father would have put an FD in the bank to get a collateral for the vacation. So I was almost kind of giving up hope, and for 4 or 5 weeks, I just went around various banks in Calcutta, but almost everyone told me we need 100% collateral or security. And I remember I was returning from one of those disappointed moments, and as I was walking towards my home, I crossed a Bank of Baroda branch, which was actually very near a house. But because it was so run down, I never thought
Hmm.
that, I need to go there. But I thought, no harm, let me just try. So I walked in, and
Hmm.
I had this young credit manager who heard my story, who looked at my credentials, my academic achievements, and he said, "Why didn't you come after a week?" So of course I went after a week, and he said, "I've set up a meeting for with the branch manager. Why did you go and meet our branch?" So I met. Of
Hmm.
course, he asked me about, and as I mean, almost astonishingly or surprisingly for me, they approved the loan without any um,
Hmm.
collateral security. So what in the week that has transpired, the credit manager actually managed to convince the branch that this is the guy we can take a bet. Uh, I think I was really moved by that, and it taught me that that guy took a bet on me. So if you really trust people and take a bet on them, invariably they'll surprise you. I think that has stayed on with me, and therefore one thing that I've learned out of all those adversities is that never give hope and keep trying because something will work
Hmm.
out.
But how do we create hope and find possibilities? Reach out to people. I think that's where the some of those takeaways which I'm picking up, Ashish. Ashish, what would be your one or two most proudest moments?
I think there are many. If I talk about career per se, I think joining Tata's was a very. Of course, the other thing which gives me a lot of pride over my career is things that you build. So I think
Yeah.
those are two I would say has been very proud.
Okay, great. And for Tata, when you mentioned Tata is like one of the most prestigious, like apne we always were aspiring to do initially Unilever. Unilever, Tata, these are the two great. And even Airtel and for that matter, Domino's, all the companies you have taken is like they're very big established brand. And Tata is, of course, Tata's for all the value systems and everyone respect. So it's great, Ashish, you have joined there and playing a role now on this company's growth, I would ask you if there is any career advice which you have got in your career which really helped and shape up who you are, or anything which you would like to share. Yeah.
So certainly, I think, as I said, over the course of last 20 years, I've had the fortune of working with some really tall leaders. So I've picked a lot from them.
Mm.
But I think one thing which has stayed with me, or a couple of things that have stayed with me, is one, very early on, somebody told me, pick experiences and not job.
Hmm.
So, and it's very important that early on in your career, you pick experiences and varied experiences
Hmm.
and not really bother about what's the job title, what will happen after this. Because if you want to really become a holistic professional, uh, especially in the domain of finance, it's very important that you pick out varied experiences early on in your. So don't be shy to
Hmm.
pick up a stint. For example, I took a lot of risk. I stint in commodity. I did an international stint. I came back and did a strategy stint. Uh, so it's important to pick the right experience. Second, I would say is that be a owner. That's very, very important again. Working with that owner's mindset. Because one thing which, and I've worked
Hmm.
in two companies which are also in entrepreneur build, and one defining trait of those companies are that they operate with a lot of ownership.
Hmm.
And irrespective of where you are, what you if you take full ownership, you will see a very different side of yourself. Uh, if which is very different from if you really confine yourself to say, I'm a manager, this is my job. You're an owner and therefore behave like one. Third, of course, is in today's time, the technology is changing at a very, very rapid pace. Business models are getting disrupted. Uh, there is a lot of dynamism in the environment. It's very important to staying relevant and keep updating and sharpening
Hmm.
your. And I think last, if I have to give an advice, I'll say, please enjoy what you do. Because if you don't enjoy what you do, you can never bring in the passion and the energy and satisfaction out of it. So it's very important
Hmm.
to enjoy what you do and do what you enjoy.
What are your hobbies? Like, what do you enjoy?
I think I love reading and listening to music. Of course,
Okay.
get a lot of time now to read as well because I travel a lot. In flights, I a lot. And of course, whenever I get time, I listen to music. And music is something that really calms me down. And I listen to all kinds of music. Uh, but Bollywood is not my cup of tea. So I listen to mostly Hindustani classical or fusion, Hindi. And of course, whenever I
Hmm.
get little more time, I like to paint. I do, acrylic on canvas. So that's my genre. So I like to paint, but I haven't. But requires a lot of time, so I'm not able to do it very often.
And what do you draw? Like, you draw portrait of people or you draw
So
sceneries?
it's largely landscapes uh,
Hmm.
with some silhouettes of people put in, but I don't do portraits per se.
Hmm. I want to see some of your creations. Huh? Send me pictures later on. Would be great to showcase any interesting couple of those things. So Ashish, now with lots, I think you have like 20 plus years. Kitne total years of experience would be what for you
22,
now?
I guess. Ready to.
22 years of consumer experiences, right? So first question to you would be like, if you see ahead, what are some of those key FMCG or consumer industry trends which either one excites you, and second you also share some of those who really makes you nervous as the leader of the company.
Maybe let me pick out two. One, of course, is this whole move towards health and nutrition.
Hmm.
More and more consumers are now seeking and getting aware about the back of pack. And even the regulator has become extremely active nowadays, which is good because I think it's the right direction that at least the FMCG and the food and definitely industry is moving. More clean labels, low, sodium, fat, sugar, and food. That is a trend which is a good trend, but is going to reshape the industry, at least the F&B, for the next few years.
Hmm.
The second, I think, is a channel disruption, which is quick commerce. And to be honest, I was never a believer in it. 2, 3 years back, I read it wrong and I said, this is something which has no use case in India because there's no way Indians are going to pay for a 10 million delivery where there's any mom and pop shop in the
Hmm.
neighborhood that gives you a same day delivery or the best the next day. But I think I was proven so wrong. It's been a huge disruptor. Um, and it's had phenomenal growth in the last couple of years. Almost, I think it's about 1/3 of the total e-com and slated to
Yeah.
grow almost 10x in the next 5 to 6 years. I think it will have a major bearing in the way consumers shop. The shopping missions are getting redefined. It's becoming more impulse than planned. It will have a bearing on the assortment that you sell on the channel. And it will have a bearing on the supply chain. Probably a lot of supply chain need to get
Hmm.
reconfigured uh, because uh, the channel requirements are very, very different. So I think that is one thing to watch out for. It excites me, but also makes me nervous because we don't know what we don't know. Uh,
So does it like for quick commerce since they don't have a staples brand, you tend to gain because say Amazon, DMart, you already they had their
yes,
own brands in some of those
we were
categories you operate. Mm.
we were anyways as a company over-indexed on these channels of future as we on modern trade and
Mm.
e-com, and so therefore we are getting a natural tailwind, uh, which augurs well for us because our shares are much higher uh, on a quick
Mm.
commerce platform versus say a GT. So it augurs well for us. And then we'll have to then see how we can keep building on it and leveraging on
Mm. If I see last 4 years, Tata Consumer has acquired some four big acquisition like this year after you joined Organic India or this Capital Foods, right? With Ching brands. That was the recent one. But even before that, Soulful was there, and there are some of the other brands. So acquisitions भी बहुत सारी हैं, and you are also launching new products every time. So do you think that this is something which will continue for you guys? And what's really because so can you share more on like when you see growth and growth now coming on for years, do you think that this is something which is an important part for you? And what is the reason as a CFO? Like, yes, these number of acquisitions are good for the company. How are you going to assess about it?
So let me talk about both. One is on the innovation strategy and second is on that.
Hmm.
So innovation, I think we believe innovation is the way of doing it because we believe that have to keep trying fast.
Hmm.
So just to give you some numbers, for the last 3 years, we have launched some 100 innovations. So and we have
Wow.
a very first innovation council which reviews all innovation. The principles that we follow are pretty simple actually. First principle that we look at is do we have a right to win in the product or
Hmm.
the category? And if you don't have a right to win, let's not do it. Second is, does it make money? Does it have a business? And if even if it does not have it today, there are line of sight. So as long as there is a line of sight and the innovation is marginal, the brand or the category it is operating in, guessing. And the third and the very important one is either fail fast or scale. So if it's
Hmm.
working, we are dispassionate about killing the innovation. So sometimes you get very emotional about your innovation. You find it difficult to kill, then you keep
It's like a
dragging.
baby, na, for that team.
So I think this is one thing which I really like how we keep reviewing every innovation every 6 months. If it's not working, or we bring it back later, a different path because we realize that it's just not. I think those are some of the which have really helped us in staying true to this making innovation available. On acquisition, I think the mandate was really clear, and the mandate was very clear from the chairman. So we need to make this company a full-fledged FND, starting with FND because that's where the inherent strength of it. And therefore we are very happy looking at opportunities which are either in the space of white spaces or bolt on to make sure that we are expanding our play and getting into
Hmm.
larger TAMs, which is total addressable. And therefore, very thought out strategy to say, are we covering all day part and are we covering all meal? If you see our portfolio today, you can have breakfast with us. You can have mid-morning. You can have
Mm.
all your main meals, either Indian, Western, or Chinese. And
Yeah.
we beverages through the from water,
Mm.
plus to Himalayan, and we also have accompaniments in terms of all the preserves and the spreads that you need. And
Mm.
and if you a little more conscious and you want organic, then we also have the full organic portfolio, starting from food to infusion to supplement. So that's how we look at the portfolio. That are we covering
Mm.
all? Wherever there is a white space, then we do a very targeted, uh, either an organic play or an inorganic. So sometimes you
Mm.
find an inorganic opportunity that allows you to hold or get into that category. It's just so therefore there are very clearly defined guardrails in terms that only acquired terms where you think you can add value. It helps you complete your portfolio. And again, you're correct. So I think, of course, with these two large acquisitions, we have pretty much covered a lot of white spaces. But
Hmm.
to look at identified areas.
So your life will be very interesting, no? Whatever you acquire, first you integrate, then you think about more acquisitions, more innovations. So I can imagine that it is full of excitement, new stuff, not like the regular stuff for you.
No, no, every day is, there's no lack of excitement. It's, because either we are building new products or integrating. So, of course, last year we have integrated two new businesses, and now we're looking at the full innovation cycle for those two businesses. Because in our existing businesses, we continue to look at for
Hmm.
using more and more. That's it's very, very.
Hmm. And like as I think I just want to dwell upon that point which you mentioned about killing also if things are not working fine, right? You also stop it. And if I somehow like see it's sometimes we don't know whether it is a 6 months we should give, 1 year we should give, 3 years we should give to a brand or to a new launch to see whether it's working or not. Do you have a thumb rule which you can share, or which someone like in any FMCG or any for that matter looking into innovation they can learn from it, like what is the guardrail period for which they should allow that test to happen whether things are working fine or not?
I think it's important to predefine what elements
Hmm.
will go in to make the innovation successful. For example, if you
Hmm.
are launching an e-commerce product, then what is the level of listing, reach, etc., you want to achieve? What is the level of investment you want to put? So predefining the input metrics is very, and then reviewing every 6 months to say, despite putting in all the inputs, are we seeing? If you see promise, give it another 6 months. If you don't see any promise, despite putting in, the first thing is whether you have put in all the inputs. If you not put in all the inputs, then might
Hmm.
as well go back and then watch for another 6. So I think these are the two vectors that we look at. Have we given it everything that it needs? And despite giving it everything that it needs, is it showing promise? If it's showing promise, give it another 6 months. And then review after 6 months. And then give it another 6 months if it's showing more promise. But if it's not showing
Hmm.
any promise, there's no point keeping it on a ventilator. Might as well just keep it. Because then you will save a lot of resources and organization bandwidth to put behind something.
Now one of my favorite space where I go was is the Starbucks. But now even if I see about Starbucks, there is every other, there are some third wave, there is some blue tokai, I don't know, there are some many other players who are coming in the premium coffee chains. Even in that space the competition is really mounting up. So if, especially in the position of, from your perspective of as a leadership team position, and while the actions are happening, how do we protect our interest and still grow the agenda? Are there any learnings which you can share, like how you mold your strategy when some of these events happens?
That's true. So first I'll tell you a very funny story about Starbucks. Then I'll talk a little more strategy. Joining Tata Consumer. And I told my daughters that I'm joining a new. They asked me
Hmm.
what products this company is. When I told them Tata Salt, Tata, and none of them excited.
Yeah.
Until this company also has Tata staff. Then they said, yeah, joining a great company, please join. Coffee, if you see as a segment of it, it's very, very basic. India's largely a tea-loving country, and therefore coffee as a segment is, I would say, at a very, very inception state. And we are seeing a lot of competition heat up, and to my mind, that is good because again, a lot of category development work is happening, and a lot of PE-funded UA startups are doing a great work on category development. And if we stay true to what we stand for, we will always gain more than our fair share of that expanded market. So I think competition in the short term looks daunting. It also, makes you rethink, but in the long run, it always helps because it is forcing us to also rethink our menu, rethink our store design, rethink our cost lines. It's making us more efficient and nimble. And of course, given the strength of the Starbucks brand, and as I think Sunil also keeps saying, we will not be slowing down. Because right now is the time for, as I said, it's a phase of land grab. Because if you see the long-term trends of consumerism in India, coffee as a category and coffee as a culture is only going to grow. So I think I believe we are in the right place at the right time, and we'll continue to build on the great brand that Starbucks is.
So, one more last question from your perspective, as someone who is looking to build up a career in, especially in the FMCG area, what, and you can say it's finance, non-finances could be true. Is there any specific skill set which, or the thought process which someone should be bringing on the table? Everyone is excited, right? I was excited when I joined Unilever, and consumer space always excite people. So, any specific skills which you suggest we should be building up before we join a company like yours?
I wouldn't say any specific skills because I think and it's true for FMCG, it's true for any other business, that once you come in, it's very important to build business intimacy and really understand what's happening on the ground. So, irrespective of which function you join in FMCG, if you're in a consumer company, you must make sure that you're working them and you're meeting consumers. And getting to understand the fine nuance of, because the FMCG business is all about everyday great execution, because your products need to reach the outlet every single day, and the consumers are buying your products every single day. So it is about every day doing the same thing consistently, and the more you understand, the better you're able to add value when you're sitting in your discussions or in your head office discussions. So building that ground level understanding of the business, and I keep pushing my team as well to build business intimacy, as I call them, and that's very important.
Yeah, great. I think the business partnering or business understanding and deep consumer understanding is what will help if you want to build a successful career in an FMCG, right? That's it.
You must understand the business before you can claim to be a partner or a co-pilot. So it's important that whichever company you join, you spend the first 3 months, 6 months just understanding how the front end operates, how the back end operates, how the market operates, what people buying, why they're buying it, and how does the portfolio look.
Great. What is your favorite brand? You have so many brands within Tata, like, or product, I must say, because everything will have a Tata attached to it now. Which is the category which you are most
That's a
fascinated
very
about?
difficult question because I can't be seen to be partition. To seem to be objective. But if I were to pick one, I would say it's Tata Soft. And the reasons I say my favorite brand is because it's Desh Ka Namak. It just evokes so much trust in the Tata name, and it's unbelievable.
So, Ashish, now coming on to the next section, which is very interesting. I'll ask you a couple of questions. Don't apply too much of your mind. Come what's raised to you, because it's a rapid fire, right? I'll ask some interesting parts, and if you're ready, let me know.
Yeah, I'm ready. Go ahead.
Okay, so first rapid fire question for you. If you have liberty to ask anything from anyone, what would you ask and why?
I would probably would ask Trump why again.
Why again? Okay, interesting. What is your favorite book?
A book is a difficult one to pick because changes over a period of time. But if I were to pick maybe one or two, the first one I think very earlier in your career, which had a profound impact on me, was Seven Habits of Highly Effective Recovery.
Hmm.
I think I really learned prioritization from that.
Which is your favorite music track?
Music trap. As a
You don't like Bollywood. You share.
yeah, I don't much like Bollywood. Um, all-time favorite is difficult to pick, but recently I heard this music album Tappi by Zakir Hussain, and I mean, as he just passed away, and I used to be a very fond of, and really.
Yeah. What is your success mantra?
I would say work for what you wish for, and second, I would say is have a very supportive ecosystem, and I was fortunate to have a family which was.
Three cheers to your family for that. Which movie never gets old for you?
Again, difficult pick, but if I had to pick, I think it'd be Lagan. I really
Hmm.
enjoy watching that movie, and especially the cricket match towards the end. And it's a great movie, and also I think is an amazing lesson in leadership. I recently watched it
Yeah.
again with my daughters as
One word. So I'll now give you a couple of words, right? And you have to just say one word which comes to your mind when I say the following: FMCG,
a dynamic.
competition,
Good to have.
money,
Hygiene.
favorite tea brand,
Now, without doubt, Tata tea.
not not Brook Bond anymore.
No way.
CFO,
Copa.
favorite actress,
Madhuri Dixit.
travel destination.
London.
So next one for you. Best career advice which you have ever given.
The career advice I have given is nicety is not effectiveness.
But you're a nice person yourself.
Yes. But sometimes people make, that mistake, especially in business partnering roles, when you're trying to be just nice. But while you're being nice, you have to also drive effectiveness by holding people accountable. I think that's very important.
Yeah, I think the point which you mentioned, it's holding people accountable when it's required, right? Finally, our responsibilities towards business and everything which we say about the business and not about the person. It's a great career advice which you have given. What would you tell to yourself, your younger self, who is a 20-year-old, if you have the chance to do it at the start of your career, but anything he or she should do differently?
I would have just said, have more fun along the way.
Have my phone along the way. Yes, okay. Who would be at your dinner table, dream dinner table?
Oh, so
And you
that
should
to
not pick your wife.
no, of course, yeah. Would be have Roger Federer if I can, and Sachin Tendulkar along with because I think
Okay, great. And what would you be talking with them?
no, I would ask them. See, they are to me epitome of excellence and humility persona.
Hmm.
I mean, how do you achieve that level of excellence that they have? I mean, what's the
Hmm.
mantra? And second, how do they stay so humble, having achieved? Would be great to learn from them.
Yeah, Sachin is in Mumbai. I think it can happen. Serendipity can happen. You can have a dream dinner date with him someday. I know you are a busy person, but if there was one more hour in a day, every day you get that, what would you spend on reading? Okay, not painting.
I think I'll also in between reading and paint.
Okay, no, I'll go with reading. I was just messing with you. what what bold message would it broadcast if you had a giant billboard, like on Church Gate or on Marine Drive? What would you write?
I would say if life give you lemons, take lemon.
Wow, that's very nice. And make a laminate out of it.
Make the most of what you get.
Yes. If you had to describe your life in one sentence, what would you say?
I would say a string of blessings.
String of blessings. Wow, that is inspiring, Ashish. If What's a legacy you want to leave behind? If I want to get a positive spin around it.
See, one man uh, and education changed my life. So I've always believed that if one person in a family gets educated, it just not changes the life of the person, but it changes the life of the entire family. And therefore, I very passionately believe in doing something around education. I've still never not gotten my head around it. But my life's motto is to make positive transformation and really make a difference to businesses, people, and community. And I really want to do something in the domain of education. Maybe educate as many kids as I can, who then go on to become something in life. So that's my post-retirement plan. And probably if I'm able to achieve that, then I would want people to remember me for that.
Yeah, Ashish, I think thanks for sharing this point, and it's very inspiring. Like, even this session, this entire initiative, we started with the motto of helping others. So, this is also educating professionals to do better. You are already playing that role. When you decided to come on our show, and this is our way to give it back. How can we help others so that they succeed in their life? And it actually, really the entire family is supported well. This brings towards the end of our rapid fire, and you did excellent. I do not have any hamper to give, but all my love is for you. I can virtually give the love and blessings.
I can send you my address. You can send me the app.
It's difficult to send blessings, but yeah, I can send a nice note, a handwritten note of thank you for doing so excellent. Ashish, now we're coming towards end of our podcast session, and I want to take this opportunity to thank people in your life. I think the bank manager you mentioned that played a great role in your career. There would be so many other people who really made a difference to you. So the end of the show is a thanking note to them for playing a great part in becoming Ashish who you are today, and so that an Ashish today is helping so many others and transforming business and people. Do you want to share some few names and we can thank them?
Well, certainly, I think I'll first want to thank my parents for letting me be what I am. Because otherwise, that education was used to put me in a ducky or a Quran, as I said. But they allowed me to
Mm.
study. I know what hardship they went through to let this happen, but they never. The second, of course, as I talked about the bank manager, I am still trying to reach out to him, and I would one day want to meet him and say, uh,
Mm.
so. And the third, of course, is my family, my bike, my kids. As I said, you have to build a sporting ecosystem. They've been huge pillar of strength. And then I would also like to thank all my mentors and guide over the years who have taught me a lot. Uh, I've learned a lot observing them uh, passively and actively. Sometimes they've really, really mentored into me becoming what I am. So, thanking. And of course, the journey is still on. It's a lifelong learning that I want to pursue. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Ashish. It's a time when we are pausing and thanking them for everything, like thanking your parents, the bank managers, and the team there, and your entire family, your wife, and your daughters, for playing a great role and helping you throughout, right? It has a life of a CFO is not an easy one. And I can imagine that role which they have played in helping you uh, to become so successful as you are, and to every mentor and boss and colleague of yours as they
Absolutely. And
have
I must
played in
add
that.
things as well because see, a leader is as good as his team. So throughout, I've also been, as I said, my life is been a string of blessings. I've always been blessed to get some really good bosses and some really good teams. Really caught on to my vision and have always over delivered. Thank you, Yamu.
Yeah, and I thank them for playing a great part in your life and career. And I hope you are surrounded by those set of great people always to help you in your journey. And you do much more, whatever you want to wish for, you do that, Ashish.
Thank
Any
you.
last messages from your side to everyone as we are beginning 2025?
Well, I would want to wish everyone a fantastic new year.
It is such a great talking to you, Ashish, today. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and experiences. And I hope there are things which everyone can take away. And thank you, everyone who is watching it. And do subscribe to Pursuit of Financial Leadership to hear such more interesting stories.